The year was 1971, a time when the world was in the midst of change, yet in the small town of Harrisville, Rhode Island, time seemed to stand still. The place, Harrisville, Rhode Island. A quaint, seemingly peaceful town nestled in the heart of New England where everyone knew each other, and life moved at a gentle pace. The Arnold estate, a sprawling farmhouse with a haunting past, stood silent, shrouded in an eerie stillness. Its decaying wood and overgrown vegetation whispered secrets of a bygone era, a time when the house was full of life and laughter. Unknown to the Perron family, this picturesque New England setting held a darkness within its walls, a malevolence that would soon consume their lives. The dark windows seemed to watch them, the ominous clouds overhead a foreboding sign of the terror that awaited. This is their story, a chilling tale of a family held captive by the unseen, their experiences forever etched in the annals of paranormal history. As they walked towards the old house, they had no idea that their lives were about to change forever. Their nightmare would become legend, inspiring books, films, and an enduring fascination with the darkness that lurks beyond our understanding. The stories told in hushed tones, the films that sent shivers down spines, all stemmed from the Perron family's harrowing ordeal. This is not just a story of ghosts and hauntings, it is a story of a family's courage, their struggle against an unrelenting force that threatened to tear them apart. Holding hands, they faced the darkness together, their bond growing stronger with each passing day. It is a story that forces us to confront the unknown, to question the boundaries of our reality, and to acknowledge that some mysteries may forever remain unsolved. As we look out into the misty forest path, we are reminded that the world is full of enigmas, and sometimes the answers lie just beyond the veil of our understanding. The Arnold estate was not merely a house, it was a repository of sorrow, its timbers echoing with the weight of generations past. The very air around it seemed to hum with the stories of those who had lived and died within its walls, each tale more tragic than the last. Built in 1736, the house had borne witness to a litany of tragedies, each one leaving an indelible mark on the very fabric of the building. The walls, if they could speak, would tell of countless sorrows and unfulfilled dreams, of lives cut short and happiness turned to despair. Whispers of suicides, drownings, and unexplained deaths clung to the property like cobwebs, passed down through generations of townsfolk who knew better than to tempt fate within its walls. The overgrown graveyard nearby stood as a silent testament to the many lives lost, each headstone a marker of a story that ended too soon. One particular tale sent shivers down the spines of locals, the story of Mrs. John Arnold, driven to madness after the loss of her children. Her grief was so profound that it seemed to transcend the boundaries of life and death, her presence felt by those who dared to venture near the estate. She was said to have wandered the property, a specter of grief, before taking her own life within the house's darkened rooms. Her ghostly figure was often reported by those who claimed to have seen her, a shadowy presence that moved silently through the night, her sorrow etched into her very being. Her despair, it seemed, had seeped into the very foundation, a palpable presence that lingered long after her passing. The house, with its crumbling walls and empty rooms, stood as a monument to her sorrow, a place where the past refused to be forgotten. Each creak of the floorboards, each whisper of the wind through the broken windows, seemed to carry her lament, a reminder of the tragedy that had unfolded within those walls. Towering over the grim history of the Arnold estate was the specter of Bathsheba Sherman, a figure shrouded in rumor and whispered accusations. Her story begins in the early 1800s, a time when superstition and fear of the unknown ran rampant. Bathsheba was born into a world that was quick to judge and slow to forgive, a world where a single misstep could lead to a lifetime of infamy. Said to have practiced witchcraft in the 19th century, Bathsheba's name was uttered with a mix of fear and reverence. Her reputation was built on a foundation of dark whispers and chilling tales, each more terrifying than the last. The townsfolk spoke of her with a sense of dread, convinced that she wielded powers beyond their understanding. She was a pariah, accused of sacrificing children to the devil, her presence a stain on the community. The accusations were never proven, but the mere suggestion was enough to ostracize her. Bathsheba lived in isolation, her only companions the dark woods and the eerie silence that surrounded her home. The villagers avoided her at all costs, fearing that even a glance in her direction could bring misfortune. Though never formally convicted, Bathsheba's legend grew with each passing year, fueled by the misfortunes that befell those who crossed her path. Stories of unexplained illnesses, sudden deaths, and strange occurrences were all attributed to her malevolent influence. The Arnold estate in particular seemed to be a focal point of her wrath. The land itself appeared cursed, with crops failing and animals dying under mysterious circumstances. Her death, as shrouded in mystery as her life, was said to have unleashed a curse upon the land, a malevolence that targeted the inhabitants of the Arnold estate. Some say she took her own life in a final act of defiance, while others believe she was murdered by those who feared her. Regardless of the truth, her passing did nothing to quell the fear that gripped the community. Instead, it seemed to amplify it, as if her spirit had been set free to wreak havoc on the living. Her spirit, twisted and vengeful, became synonymous with the darkness that permeated the house, a constant threat to those who dared to call it home. The Arnold estate became a place of nightmares, where the line between the living and the dead was blurred. Those who ventured too close spoke of ghostly apparitions, chilling whispers, and an overwhelming sense of dread. Bathsheba's legacy of malevolence lived on, a haunting reminder of the darkness that can reside within the human soul. In the winter of 1971, the Perron family, unaware of the darkness that awaited them, arrived at the doorstep of the Arnold estate. Roger and Carolyn, along with their 5 daughters, Andrea, Nancy, Christine, Cindy, and April, were filled with the optimism of new beginnings, their dreams oblivious to the nightmare that awaited. The first few days were idyllic, the family reveling in the spacious rooms and sprawling grounds. But this tranquility was not to last. Subtle signs of the unseen began to surface, a chill in the air, the faint scent of decaying flowers, floorboards creaking under the weight of invisible footsteps. These unsettling occurrences, easily dismissed at first, soon escalated, transforming their idyllic haven into a prison of fear. As the night deepens and eerie silence blankets the house, suddenly a chilling breeze sweeps through the corridors, though every window remains tightly shut. It's as if an unseen force is making its presence known. You can almost feel the weight of its gaze, watching, waiting. The air grows thick with anticipation, and you can't help but wonder, what is it that lurks in the shadows? The Warrens, renowned paranormal investigators, arrived at the Arnold estate, determined to uncover the truth. Their presence brought a mix of hope and fear to the Perron family. The Warrens conducted a thorough investigation, documenting every eerie detail, every strange occurrence. They believed the house was haunted by a malevolent spirit, one that had been tormenting the Perrons for years. The Warrens' intervention marked a turning point, but it also meant that the family had to confront the darkness head-on. After leaving the Arnold estate, the Perron family hoped to find peace. They moved to a new home, far away from the memories of their haunted past. However, the experiences at the Arnold estate left a lasting impact on each family member. They struggled to rebuild their lives, always haunted by the shadows of their past. The story of their ordeal spread, becoming a cautionary tale for others who dared to confront the unknown. Andrea Perron, the eldest daughter, later recounted the harrowing experiences in her book. She described the terror, the sleepless nights, and the overwhelming sense of dread that plagued their family. Andrea's account provided a detailed and personal perspective on the haunting, shedding light on the emotional and psychological toll it took on them. Her words resonated with many, offering a glimpse into the reality of living in a house plagued by supernatural forces. The legacy of the Arnold estate haunting lives on, a chilling reminder of the unknown forces that exist beyond our understanding. The Perron family's story continues to captivate and terrify, a testament to their courage and resilience. The Warrens' investigation remains one of their most famous cases, inspiring countless books, movies, and documentaries. The Arnold estate stands as a symbol of fear, a place where the line between the living and the dead is blurred, forever etched in the annals of paranormal history.